Hello and welcome to this transmission from Knowledge Transmission Center in Bangalore, India. I am Ajay. Today we will be talking about a product which is of course connected with your brain, and it all talks about memory. Today morning at 11 o'clock we transmitted this in Hindi, and now we are doing it in English. So welcome once again from KTC. We will be talking about our memory support product today. Now I always start with this slide which says that copyright SAMI Direct Marketing Private Limited, because people used to somehow fiddle with the slides, etc. So that's not allowed. All rights are reserved with SAMI Direct. So just forward it to as many people as you want, but without affecting the basic content of the material. So let's start. Now today, introducing our absolutely fantastic, carefully formulated research product, that is our SamiSharp. SamiSharp is a product for memory support, and it comes in a bottle of 30 tablets. This is the bottle. This is what it is available for. You must have seen this pack with our stockist or with our branches wherever the stock is available. Very reasonably priced product, and a really fantastic product, I can assure you, and it's going to go places. So let's talk about memory support product SamiSharp. It's a special under the category of special care that we have listed this product on the website. You can see some details also. Now when we talk about memory, it's very easy when we converse with people and we say, I have a great memory. I remember that you said this something like this a few years ago. Now that kind of memory you remember even, that kind of incidents you remember even after so many years is purely because you are sharp. It is somewhere registered in your mind deep inside. So where is that and where it is situated? So we'll have to understand a bit of anatomy so that we are very careful that we need to take those nutrients to keep that memory absolutely fine. All right. So we'll have to first see, yes, what is Yeah, welcome back. Actually, you saw the banner in between because there was some complaint from somewhere that the transmission is not coming right, but it's right, absolutely right. There was no problem. There was a problem with the computer there. Fine. So let's get back to the subject. We are talking about memory. Now, memory is extremely difficult to define. You know, there are so many words that we come across, or so many terminologies that we come across, and if we want to define it in a particular way, it's extremely difficult. I searched for several definitions of memory. What is memory? We know what is memory, but we don't exactly know the correct definition of what is memory. I found out one. Actually, I found there are so many. I like this one, which I am sharing with you. Memory is actually a process which takes the information around you whatever is happening around you, takes that one, processes it, and then stores it somewhere in your brain, and then of course you can again recall that one little later. That's a process. Which, so that is what the memory is. Otherwise we know what is memory. Yeah, I remember that XYZ thing, I remember this one. But when it comes to defining, it becomes very difficult. But now you know, memory is a process. It also involves not only recalling the incidences and the experiences of the past, but also it talks about storage. So that's memory for you. Then there will be another term which I would be referring to in the subsequent slides. It will come in again and again. That's cognition. Now, what is cognition? Cognition is also actually a particular process. It's a mental action where you are storing this and you are acting on the basis of the memory that you are recalling. So, understanding through the thought, through your experience, and that's what we call it cognition. So, when memory is a part of cognition, so it's not only that. So, both are inseparable actually, but when we talk about cognition, it talks about all the actions that are involved, and memory is specific, that storage and the recall that we are talking about. So, remember, this is all about cognition, because SamiSharp improves cognition. So, you shouldn't be surprised later what kind of information is this. Now, apart from just going through the scientific data and the scientific part of the product, there is something interesting which when found, I found it extremely interesting, so I thought I must share with you that there are about 100 billion neurons in your brain, in a human brain. There are 100 billion neurons. Now, billions, millions, trillions, rather than talking about it, let's convert it the way we Indians speak. So that's 10,000 crores. 10,000 crores of neurons. Neuron is nothing but a nerve cell. Like any other cell in the body, this is a cell which is a core part of your nervous system. So these are about 10,000 crores in numbers approximately. Now, each neuron has a capacity to connect with about 1000 other neurons. So, 1000 connections can be made. So, you can imagine the kind of power, the kind of, in such a small organ in your body, how much is the power to think, to memorize and to act accordingly. You can see me, I can see you, only because the brain is giving those kinds of signals. Now, if we look at the memory part, because we know the gadgets of these days, when we talk about the computers and the mobiles and all sorts of those things, we talk about what's the memory, even for the camera for that matter, we say 64 GB, 128 GB and 256 GB, so on and so forth. Now, we have gone up to terabyte. But when we talk about the storage capacity of the brain, I was just curious, what could be the storage capacity, because you can remember so many things right from your birth till date, that these are the things which happened, this was the experience, etc. So, when we are all storing it, where the hell it is going, where it is, and how much is the capacity of my brain to store. So, there are so many scientists which talked about, and considering that one neuron could have that much of capacity, etc., they calculated, and approximately it came down to 1 million GB. 1 million means 10 lakhs, 10 lakhs GB, which they call, in other words, 2.5 petabytes. Till about few days ago, I didn't know this term petabyte. Now I know, and now you also know that this is 2.5 petabyte is the storage capacity of your brain. That much of powerful organ that we have, and we still don't feel that way. But we understand that, and then we should practice it in such a way that we memorize so many things properly, the cognition works proper, etc., by having the right nutrients which we are putting into SamiSharp. Now, our brain is a very complex machine. There is no other word to use there, that's why I am using the word machine, but it is a far too superior a machine than any man-made machine. This is done by the God. And what is creation? The creation is just phenomenal. Now, you just heard me, 2.5 petabyte, that's the memory storage. So, that kind of a organ exists in this thick skull, which you can't reach it very easily because that is to be protected and protected extremely well. So that's what SamiSharp does. It helps your machine to keep it well oiled and keep it really working to its best potential. Now, here I am giving you some image of a walnut. Now, I often wondered for years, everybody wondered, and then we Google search nowadays and find out, is it functioning and is it giving you that kind of functional properties of any fruit or a dry fruit or any kind of a vegetable. But here if you look at this the half portion of a walnut, you will find that it exactly resembles how your brain looks like. This is the brain that you looks like. So nature probably is giving us an indication that yes, these are the kinds of dry fruits that you should eat, which will help your brain to function well. And that's true, because we have seen it that walnut gives you a lot of omegas, which are extremely essential for your brain health. So that is a correct indication that what we have. Our SamiSharp does not contain anything that is related with walnut, but I thought it's very interesting to just show you how similar these two things look like. So let's look at some of the slides on the anatomy of the brain, so that we understand, all connected with the memory. Now I have just colored this one, some portions, the major 4 portions of the brain of a different color. Let's see what are those which affect and which we must know about. First is the frontal lobe. You can see the front side of your head and the brain in particular, that is your blue in color, which is responsible for memory, which is responsible for problem solving, language. So many languages, some people know, they are multilingual, they know so many languages, so it comes from the power of your frontal lobe. Then motivation, judgment, and then the behavior, whether it is social or sexual. So frontal lobe manages all this, and it is related to all these things which I have listed out here. The another one is the lower portion, that lobe is particularly called as a temporal lobe, and this is also responsible for memory, for taste, smell, and also the perception. What is perception? Perception is simple, that if somebody is good or bad, but if I look at him as a good person, that's my perception, irrespective of what the person is really like, whether good or bad, but that's my perception that is good. So that is what we call perception. Now I am not going to define you what is perception, but this is the temporal lobe which helps you having your own perception on certain things. Limbic system, you can see there A, B, C, D, E, F, these are the markings there which show that this is the limbic system made up of these 6 units, and mainly this is responsible for again memory and emotion, the emotions with which we all live in this world. So these are the major 3 portions of the brain which are connected with memory. There is a thalamus, there is a hypothalamus also, but these are the major portions which are responsible. It is good to understand that this is how it looks and this is how it works, so that it is easy and a little bit interesting when we get into more details of the formulation. Now I used the word earlier in one of the slides where I said that we have more than 100 billion neurons. Now here is exactly what the neuron is, because neuron and synapse, these are the 2 words which will be quite often used in the subsequent slides, so you must know what these are. Neurons are the electrically excitable cells like any other cell in the nervous system, and this functions to process and transmit information. Neuron, I will show you the structure, how it looks like, then it will be very easy to understand. What it means is, it processes the information that we receive. Now today, let's say I start from the office and start from home and come to the office. On the way across these 20 kilometers, I see so many things, I experience so many things, these somewhere get registered. Some are so powerful incidences that they will get registered, but this information to be processed and saved, in today's language, saved, which is automatic, and then transmit this information. Now I am telling you this, what I went through. So if I narrate you the whole of journey from my home to the office, that is what exactly is the transmission. I am transmitting that information back to you because it was stored somewhere, and the responsible for that is neuron. So there are so many neurons, as I said, 100 billion. So, similarly these are like any other cell, it's a neuron, and I will show you how it looks like. That is what we just talked about, the transmitting the signals, and then they look like this. This is neuron. Now consider that this is the cell and this is the body of the cell, and these are the, ultimately we call it dendrites, the other ends of the cell. So, cell is exactly like this. The green dot that you see is the nucleus, the other things are like cytoplasm and so many things, and these are dendrites. Now, for one neuron to communicate with the other neuron, they need to come closer to each other. So, like this there are, now you know in your brain there are 100 billion, 100 billion neurons which are present and which are connecting with each other. So, actually they do not touch each other, they just come extremely close, and there is a minute gap between the two neurons, and this is that gap which is called as synapse. Now, this gap synapse, through this synapse from one neuron to the other, there is a diffusion that happens of the neurotransmitter, and that is how the information is transmitted to the next neuron, and the chain happens like that. So, this is what synapse is. Synapse, remember this word because it is one of our major selling points, which when I come to the individual ingredients I will refer to that. But so, this is what neuron and synapse are. Okay. Now, causes of memory loss, we know very well that if your friend is not able to recall what you are trying to make him recall, then we say you have gone old, that is why you are not able to recollect what happened few months ago or few years ago. That, so we in a very simplified term we say you have gone old, but that is true. With aging you tend to lose memory a bit, not fully, because there are people who can remember everything in the world in their life, what happened right from their birth, even at the age of 90 or 95. So, to keep the brain that sharp, you need some right nutrients, and now you have a very ready-made answer in SamiSharp. There are other reasons why you tend to lose memory, that is Alzheimer's disease, which we all know that you totally lose your memory, and somewhere in some subconscious mind there is some memory left. So, suddenly it will come out again, it will go down. So, the parents are not able to even sometimes recognize their own children. So, that kind of a very serious, it is a very serious kind of a disease which happens. Brain tumor, when it is, when you can imagine, now you have seen what is brain like, that is why I wanted to show you the brain. So, when there is a tumor on the brain, obviously that part of the brain is going to get affected, and if memory is a part of that which is controlled by that part of the brain, then obviously there will be effect on the memory. There is something called as dementia. So, dementia is actually the broader term where also you lose the memory as well as, actually it's a very serious disease, and under dementia, if you take it as an umbrella thing, under that comes Alzheimer's disease. So, there are so many other things also which happen during dementia. Let us not get into those details. Alcohol, over usage of alcohol can also make your memory go away, leave you. Then degenerative neurological diseases of other types. There is drug-drug interaction, like pharmaceutical products, where what you take, every product is meant to cure you, but actually sometimes two drugs or two different classes of drugs interact with each other and they affect your memory. Then you have the head injury, the infection, the psychological reasons, there could be seizures like you get it in epilepsy, those kind of thing. Stroke, stroke is not to be confused with the heart attack. Stroke is something, see, your brain gets a blood supply from the blood vessels which run through your neck. Now understand, the heart is here and here is your brain. So, the blood has to travel against the gravity, and if sometimes something happens somewhere and your brain is not able to get the blood supply the way it is required, because blood carries oxygen. So, when it does not get that oxygen, even for a split second, the brain can go dead. So, you can imagine that little portion, sometimes it is for a millisecond it happens, but it is also called as a mild stroke, and it can affect very badly to an individual. Then there is a therapeutic intervention while trying to correct the neurological disorders or diseases. If you give some other therapeutic dosages of some pharma products or anything of that type, it can also affect or reduce your memory. Now, need for memory enhancers has been really been established world over. I look at it in this way, that we have become so dependent on the gadgets these days. Before even the mobiles came on the scene about 20-25 years ago, if I have to call my friend, I will just lift the receiver and dial his number, because our memory, it was memorized well and it was right there. I mean, at least 25-30 numbers you can just dial like that. That was the kind, because we allowed the brain to store it. We pushed our brain to store it. Now, people don't know even their wives' or husbands' phone numbers, or even children's phone numbers for that matter, because it's so easy. It is in your mobile. You just say dial by a photograph maybe. So, because we are allowing the brain to get a little lazy, and that's perhaps the reason that worldwide dementia is becoming a very serious issue. Therefore, for memory disorders, herbal medicine and the complementary as well as the alternative medicine, which we call it, are being very aggressively promoted by all types of doctors, irrespective of the pathies that they practice. So, there is a need for memory enhancer products, and there is a need. So, there you are with your SamiSharp. SamiSharp is a very carefully formulated product with all our patented ingredients in it, and it has been very carefully crafted so that it gives you the desired results and also helps you to keep your memory absolutely first class. Let's see what it contains. Each tablet contains Bacopa. Bacopa is a trademark. It's a trademark, it's a trade name for our Bacopa monnieri extract, which is about 100 milligrams. We have Sabroxy, which comes from Oryxylene indicum plant bark of the plant. From there we take Sabroxy, that is extracted from there, also patented, 50 milligrams, and we have of course our bioperine, which is 5 milligrams, which increases the bioavailability. So, all are patented products, very beautifully, systematically, in a very technically, we have come to this conclusion that this is the formula which will help everybody to have a great memory. That's SamiSharp. Now, what each ingredient contains and how does it work? Let's take a look at that. First, let's take a look at Bacopa. Bacopa and Bacopa, these are the two words which I will keep on using, but Bacopa monnieri extract, also called shortly as Bacopa, and this Bacopa we have given a trade name like Bacopa. These are standardized for bacosides A and B. Now, what is this standardized thing? You will recollect that curcumin, for example, our product curcumin C3 power, there we have standardized the turmeric extract with curcuminoids 95%. Similarly, in Bacopa monnieri extract, we have standardized this for bacosides A and B. These are the active components of Bacopa monnieri extract. They are clinically proven by several clinical trials worldwide that they revitalize the intellectual function, even in children. Now, so far all of our distributors used to talk about and ask about which products to be given to children, is it safe for children and all. This is one product after curcumin chewable tablet that I can very easily and safely tell you, yes, you can give SamiSharp to children. Why to give it to children? We will know that, and how much, that also I will tell you. For adults also, it calms down the stressed mind, because stress and strain is a part of our life these days. It's a modern life and it is a part of our life, but we have to handle it, and you can handle it now well with SamiSharp. So, what is it that is giving reduction in stress? That is the Bacopa in your SamiSharp, which is helping, allowing it for a better brain function. Now, mechanism of action, if you look at that, okay, how does it work? How the Bacopa works? Now, you can see two types I have put there already. One is called neuromodulation and one is neuroprotection. Neuromodulation means everything is there. Now you modify in such a way that you get the desired results. Now you can see under neuromodulation, you have serotogenic action, you have cholinergic action and GABAergic action. Now what is GABA? GABA. It is very important to understand, because there are certain products in the marketplace which give synthetic GABA. We do not use anything that is synthetic when it comes to natural actives. Now here what Bacopin does is, Bacopin helps the production of GABA. GABA is nothing but gamma aminobutyric acid, gamma aminobutyric acid, GABA, and this GABA inhibits certain stress linked hormones. So there are certain hormones which gives you stress. Now this GABA ensures that it inhibits those hormones so that you do not get stressed. That is how the reduction in stress happens. Now as a neuroprotection, it is a very powerful antioxidant, and also inhibition of beta secretase, which is also an enzyme which is not so good for the brain. So that is also inhibited, protected. The brain is protected from getting the harmful effects of that. Then as an anti-stress, of course, you have the final result, which is called as optimization of the brain function. Exactly how your brain should function, this Bacopin will help you, and of course in stress management. You will have a calm, comfortable day. That is why a comfortable night. That is why we say take it in the night, both the tablets. Bacopin and memory are of course been in use by Ayurveda since 500 AD, and we are today in the 21st century. So if you look at it, about 1500 years, Brahmi, in other words, Brahmi, Bacopa means Brahmi. Brahmi is being used as a Medhya Rasayana for the treatment of particularly anxiety, poor memory, even epilepsy. Now diseases we never talk about normally, but this is the result of the clinical trial. I can't fiddle with the data or change it the way I want. It is exactly as it is in that clinical trial. I am giving it to you, and the references are given below. Improvements of the cognitive process, so that you remember everything right, recall it right. Comprehension, in the treatment of comprehension, memory, and of course recall. Comprehension, so we are talking about comprehension, I clearly remember. So the ability to comprehend what someone is saying and to understand and memorize and recall when required, this is where this process Bacopin really helps. Then coming to one clinical, that not only bacocytes of A and B improve the transmission of impulses between the neurons, as I told you, the transmission between the neurons, bacocytes also regenerates synapses, which I had told you. This is the synapse that I gave you the figure in the initial slides of this presentation. These synapses also are repaired by Bacopin, and that is why it is very important that we have a product which contains Bacopin here. The clinical study here I give you as it is, which says that Bacopin significantly improved the speed of visual information processing. Means, let us say I am watching a television and I am seeing something like a Discovery Channel. Now with this visual information is coming to me through my eyes, I am seeing it. Now it has to get absorbed, it has to immediately get processed by a processor and stored. So this speed of processing is increased by Bacopin. That is the advantage. Then of course it is the learning rate, because some people 10 times if you teach them, then only they understand. Some people learn it in a jiffy. So that is the learning rate which is also improved, and also the memory consolidation. Now memory consolidation, one classic example we went through in our school days, when our teacher used to say that write the table of 5 or 6 10 times. So we keep on writing the same thing again and again. That time we did not understand the meaning of that, but now we know that it is nothing but the memory consolidation. So many times you repeat the same thing, it gets registered very solidly there. And of course decrease anxiety, because anxiety, as we talked about, that worries which keep you extremely anxious all the time, Bacopa has a big role in that. So Bacopin in SamiSharp also seem to improve the cognitive functions like learning and memory. So fast learning, memorizing it quickly. These are the kind of effects that we get when we take Bacopene, like in SamiSharp. This is one thing I am sure that every parent would like to look at, because it is called attention deficit hyperactive disorder. It means the children who are very hyperactive or who are restless, they just can't sit at one place. They are so hyperactive that parents say, what is happening? And when it comes to learning, their attention span is extremely less. They are not able to comprehend, and that is what the deficiency, that attention deficiency leads to several problems. So, a lot of problems there, and a lot of children suffer from this initially, because unless and until they get interested in learning, they can't, and you need some support there, and that is what SamiSharp gives the support. An open label study was conducted, and the effects were seen whether attention deficient hyperactive disorder can be managed, and we found the conclusion was extremely encouraging, which says that standardized extract of Bacopa monnieri was found to be very effective in relieving the symptoms of attention deficiency, as well as it was extremely well tolerated. So, but this is not the standard dosages that we give to children. I will tell you at the end of the presentation that what should be the dosage that we should be giving. Bacopene studies have been all over the place, all over the world. Everybody was talking about Bacopene, and that is the Brahmi, which we call it in India. But if everybody has a Brahmi extract in their product, and we also give a Brahmi extract in our product, what is it that differentiates from the rest of the world? Yes, we have. That is why we carefully formulated the product by adding Sabroxy. So, but anyway, Bacopene, most proven, most liked by the health practitioners, and has been very effective. So, we must use it, even if it has been used by several people. So, it helps in thinking, it helps in learning, and it also helps, of course, in memorizing the things better. So, variety of benefits you get with Bacopene, and now Bacopene studies, just a quick look at that the bacosides A and B help to improve the transmission of impulses between the neurons. Neurons mean nerve cells, the transmission, it helps. Now, through this gap, there is a diffusion of neurotransmitters, and that's how the information is passed from one neuron to the other. That is improved. Also, regeneration of synapses, as I explained just now, it facilitates learning and memory, and Bacopa's ability to boost your brain function besides managing ADHD is a big advantage when it comes to Bacopene. Just summarizing the benefits of Bacopene again, it supports memory and concentration, and it also better information processing, then of course supports mental clarity, increasing the focus, and of beneficial in reducing the stress and anxiety. So, these are the benefits of Bacopene, which is a part of our formulation of SamiSharp. Coming to Sabroxy, the second ingredient which is present in our formulation SamiSharp. This is standardized for oroxylene A, which is present in an oroxylene indicum plant bark. From the bark of the tree, we are extracting our oroxylene A, which is standardized for, and we have trade named this as Sabroxy. Now, this has become known to possess the memory enhancing properties, and very well known. Now you can see the term here for the first time, you can see brain derived neurotropic factor. This is called as BDNF. BDNF is a very powerful differentiating point, which we can always talk about when we are talking to the consumers or to the others. How does it differentiate the rest of the memory support products and our SamiSharp? BDNF. Now, let us look at quickly what is BDNF. Now, there is a gene called as BDNF gene. This provides the instructions for making a protein which is called as BDNF, that is brain derived neurotrophic factor. Now, this protein promotes the survival of the neurons by playing a very significant role in the growth of the cell, then of course the maturation of the cell, at the same time maintaining these cells. So, BDNF, and if these cells are fine, if the neurons are taken care of, everything by BDNF, then obviously for your good memory you need BDNF, and that is what is enhanced due to sabroxy. That is why sabroxy is so effective. Effect of on the memory, I have just summarized it here, 6 major points. The first point on the top, you can see brain derived neurotropic factor is enhanced, so that the health of the cells is maintained properly. Then you also have the synapse repair, synapse formations wherever there is a damage, and at the same time at the cellular survival level, that the cells are nothing but neurons. So, all these have extremely beneficial effect because of oroxylin A, which is present in your sabroxy. Now, most important medicinal herbs, which this has been used in the traditional Chinese medicines for years, and the preclinical studies show that there is an improvement in the memory retention. So, whatever you learn, it is not only memorized, it is retained and also consolidated as we go forward. The references has also been given at down below before at the end of each slide. You can see it in small font. That is the clinical trial I am referring to. Bioperine, you of course know from Piper nigrum, which is a piperine extract which gives you all the benefits, like clinically you know it, but it is a clinically proven product for increasing the bioavailability of all the ingredients that are given in the formulation. So, bioavailability of sabroxy as well as bioavailability of bacopine is enhanced by bioperine. So, let us summarize what SamiSharp gives you final benefits. SamiSharp improves your memory, improves the focus and the recall in the healthy individuals. It facilitates memory consolidation, which I explained to you already. It consolidates the memory so that you recall whenever you require that. Cognitive functions are improved, at the same time anxiety is reduced, retention of the new information, very, very important point actually, because every time, every day, something or the other, some new information we receive, and this retention of this new information is extremely essential. There SamiSharp helps a lot. And most importantly, for the attention deficit hyperactive disorder, ADHD, you have SamiSharp. Dosages, now very important. Since these are the fat soluble ingredients, what is important is you must take 2 tablets after dinner. After your food in the night, have these 2 tablets, because then only you will get the desired effect of SamiSharp. Now, for children which are about 8-10 years plus, you can give them just 1 tablet at bedtime. Now, you can also divide the tablet into 2, give him a half tablet every night, no problem. And that is how you just manage that dosage with the children. Don't give them 2 tablets, there is no need. So, 8 to 10 years plus, that is what you should remember, and I am sure before that you do not require the child to get any intervention of any nutraceutical or anything. They are well fed and all nutrients are given by parents properly, but later as they start growing, you can definitely add SamiSharp. So, SamiSharp is a product to make your memory real razor sharp. So, use it, promote it, very reasonably priced. I am sure this is going to be one of the best nutraceutical selling product for SamiDirect. I wish you all the best. Give your feedback on sdlive@samidirect.com. If you want to get notification, just touch the bell on the YouTube there, and no copyright violation please, because that is very important. So, that is all for today. That is all about SamiSharp. Be sharp, be happy, be healthy with SamiDirect products. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.